Good day to all. Myself Ajay, here to discuss about the case on unethical business issue on Adidas. Adidas is a German multinational corporation founded and headquartered in Bavaria that designs and manufactures shoes, clothing and accessories. It is the largest sportswear manufacturer in Europe and the second largest in the world after Nike. Adidas is a global sportswear and athletic shoe company with a strong reputation for innovation and corporate social responsibility. However, like any large corporation, Adidas has faced ethical challenges in its operation. So, Adidas has faced its worker exploitation in its global supply chain. In 2020, workers in Indonesia who produced Adidas clothing shoes reported low wages, long working hours, and unsafe working conditions. Adidas responded by committing to improve working conditions for these workers, but this issue raises questions about the company's commitment to social responsibility. So here is the few things: corporate social responsibility, labor law and regulations, supply chain management, and transparency and accountability, labor union and advocacy group, and consumer activism, and globalization and ethical issues. So here we see about the corporate social responsibility. Adidas has responsibility to ensure that its products are produced ethically and the workers in its supply chain are treated fairly. This topic explores the role of corporations in promoting social responsibility. So labor laws and regulations. Adidas operates in many countries with different labor laws and regulations. This topic explains the challenges of complying with these laws and regulations while still maintaining profitability. And supply chain management. Adidas has a complex global supply chain that involves many different suppliers and factories. This topic explores the challenges of managing such complex supply chain and ensuring that all workers are treated fairly. And transparency and accountability. To address this issue of worker exploitation, Adidas need to be transparent and its supply chain practices to be held accountable for any violations. And this importance of transparency and accountability in promoting ethical business practices. And labor unions and advocacy groups. Labor unions and advocacy groups can play an important role in identifying and addressing issues in supply chains. This explains the role of these groups in promoting their labor practices. Consumer activism. Consumer can be used their purchasing power to pressure companies like Adidas to improve their labor practices. So this explores the role of consumer activism in promoting ethical business practices. So the final is globalization and ethical issues. Globalization has led to increased trade and economic growth, but it has also created ethical challenges like worker exploitation. In supply chains, it explains the ethical issues that arises from globalization and the responsibility of corporations in addressing these issues. So I can give the solutions for this. To address workers' exploitation in its global supply chain, Adidas could take several steps. First, the company could conduct regular audits of its suppliers to ensure that they are adhering the labor laws and the workers are being treated fairly. Adidas could also increase transparency by publishing the results of these audits and sharing information about its supply chain practices. Additionally, Adidas could work with labor unions and other advocacy groups to identify and address issues in its supply chain. So let me end that. Adidas has faced ethical challenges related to worker exploitation in its global supply chain. To address this issue, the company could take steps like conducting regular audits of suppliers and increasing transparency. Additionally, like corporate social responsibility, labor laws and regulations, and activism are relevant to this issue, can provide insights into possible solutions. Ultimately, it is important for companies like Adidas to prioritize social responsibility and ethical business practices in their operations. Thank you.